So the question is, and I'll let her walk through each scenario, but what should we do when, okay? So if you're a manager in the business and you see these kind of scenarios, what should your decision be, all right? And so if we're in this scenario, and our team members are under the awning taking orders, what does that tell us?
We need more order takers.
Okay. Everybody hear that? Does everybody agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah, so guys, what he's asking is if he's on their awning and there's no cars behind the building, what would that tell you as a facilitator? So that would tell you what, you need more orders, right?
You need more orders.
Right.
Now you can go through the rest of this.
And I think the other thing that we talked about is not only do you need more order takers, but you're losing sales because you've hit the street. So when those cars hit the street, you see dollar signs driving away, right? So your productivity is going down because you're not getting orders in. But not only that, you're losing sales because as soon as our line hits the street, people start going out. Up to 40% of our line pulls out of line before they get in the parking lot.
Most people, when they walk inside and see a line, are not going to turn around and leave. Why?
Because you already got out of your car.
You're invested at that point. You're not invested if you haven't pulled in our parking lot. And you guys see it. If you guys go out there and watch when we have a line, you will see people drop out of our line. Okay, so we are losing sales at that point. The no line mentality is about creating an opportunity for the next guest to get into the line without having to wait. When they see that, there's like, okay, I'm going to commit because there's not a line.
And sometimes we're not even walking our cars up, but the line may not be that long, you know? If we just simply walk our cars up, those people are going to pull it out, you know?
And not only that, but how many times do you have to try to come to Chick-fil-A and the line be out in the road before you stop trying to come to Chick-fil-A, right?
Yeah.
So we got some lifetime of sales that's going away there too, and that's really important. And the next question that Daniel posed in our meeting was when the line, and we'll just pretend like these cars, when the line looks like that.
And the order takers are what, at the street, right?
Yeah, and your order takers, let's say they're these little yellow guys with their orange caps.
So you ever look out there and you'll see, like I saw a few times the other day, there's 4 or 5 people out there kind of hanging out. They can't go in the street, they're maxed out, but we're all the way to the window. So what would that be telling you?
When we're inside.
Delivery, a few things would be not getting food out the window, maybe you have an issue with bagging, maybe an issue with drinks, maybe an issue with food. So you gotta diagnose the exact,
You're right.
yeah, we're not marketing, it's probably more what it is, but.
So how do you diagnose that?
Got to go over to that area, see what's going on.
What are you seeing? So what are you looking for?
I'm looking for if there's a line of bags, if there's a big conversation going on at the window, if the extras are moving food behind that car or something like that, if we need to park that person. If there's no food in the chutes, trying to find out what's going on there. Seeing if we can just park a few people, maybe 3 or 4 people, so we can get the rest of the line.
So if you didn't have any bags there, you would probably want to add a bagger, right? Help get food, or possibly help kitchen out.
Yeah.
Get those 2 spots. If you had bags, you know you're getting the food up. You just need the food out the window.
How many bags should you have up?
No more than 3.
If you're stopped, you need to be prepared to take off.
So one of the issues that we've discovered, or that I've discovered, or that Rob has discovered with our particular order taking system and that 3-bag rule, one, at any given point we're supposed to be running 2 or 3 or 4 meal delivery, and so if 3 bags, that's a 4th meal delivery person that doesn't have any food, and we'll have 6 order takers, and we don't queue or do any kind of car numbers. And so if you have 6 order takers and the 6th car taken could be the first one at window, or the 6th car tendered could be the first car at window, that's how many bags you would have to have ready to be able to serve at, before, or in front of the window.
So basically match it up to
The number of order takers.
If you're in this scenario, and like what Joel said, is you've got people kind of milling around outside waiting on cars. Probably the first thing you need to do is call one of those people over or more to come do meal delivery. Because whether you're behind on food, or you're behind on bagging, or behind on drinks, once you start getting that going, you'll need more people meal delivering to catch up, right? So you kind of said like right out the gate, if you're in that scenario, you'll probably want someone to come around. But then for me, if I were to walk in the cockpit and I'm not, you guys don't see me bagging drive-through or anything in the drive-through. So for me to identify, I have to have some very specific triggers in order to identify. The first would be what Byron said, is you're looking for bags. So how many bags do I have down? If I see one bag on the counter, we have a problem, right? And I know immediately that needs to be fixed. Not everything means that you have to add people to it. Sometimes just having the conversation, or sometimes even just encouraging someone can get more bags on the counter. We're explaining to them, hey, we want as many bags as there are order takers right now. Like things like that will oftentimes help our team perform at a higher level. But I'm going to look at the bags, decide how many there are, and then I'm going to look at drinks, if there are enough bags, are drinks going out. I'm going to look at the merging station, the window station, and see if there are any bags with drinks on the shelf, and then I'm going to look at meal delivery. But it's going to be one of those things if it's not a difficult customer that we're dealing with in the window, right? But if you have 6 bags up and you have 2 meal deliveries or 3 meal deliveries, you should have bags and drinks on the shelf outside, because the meal delivery people are being used as a pass-through, and that's not what they're designed to do. And the merger shouldn't have to tell the meal delivery, the window person should not have to tell meal delivery where they're going. Because the meal delivery should be able to come up, grab a bag with a description on it, go find the bag and hand off the food.
So one of my points was that recovery takes more manpower than maintenance. So when your drive-thru is rolling and you're maintaining it, you may not need that extra person on meal delivery, but at the point that your order takers have gotten to that entrance, you're in recovery mode. So happy spot for order takers is right around where the crosswalk is. That's where you're happy. When they're, at the back of the awning around the crosswalk, and you're maintaining a gap in the drive-thru, so a perfect drive-thru has a 1-car gap, right? But when you're right in that area, you're maintaining a gap, probably what some of you guys saw today, where maybe you're running out of cars before the light changes, but that's a good maintaining drive-thru. That's where you see that movement, everybody's happy. Once your order takers have hit the road and you can see them when you look out the back window by the play place, you're already in recovery mode, whether you know it or not, whether your screens are red or not. And so that's my point, was those people are just standing there, they're not doing anything, and you're in recovery mode, whether you know it or not. Maybe use them to help you recover off the bat. Go ahead and pull them around because you know they've hit the road, which means you have that many orders on the screen. Maybe you're helping address what's going on in the cockpit because as a facilitator you might be inside already, and then one of those meal delivery people can go ahead and come around and help you recover.
I want to make things more confusing, but
There's no absolute rule. So
so like you're saying bring the order taker around. Gary pointed this out on Saturday. It's a really good point. It's, what if you have someone inside that is readily available to do that? So that way you keep your 6 order takers out there, and then you can. So that way you're not pulling from drive-thru to feed drive-thru. It'd be like a snake trying to eat itself. So you pull from inside. If that's the front line's not having 15 people out in the dining room and things need to be done, but if we have someone restocking condiments or anything like that, they can grab meals and.
The point of seeing this and drawing it out is that when you're down there taking orders at the road, your drive-thru's going too slow.
Yeah.
100% of the time it's going too slow. So you can never look at your screen and go, well, they're not in red, so it's not. They're going fast enough because they're not in red. We're going too slow at that point when you see that. And we have to adjust something in the cockpit area, either inside the cockpit or outside the cockpit. You have to make an adjustment in order to go faster. Because if you're standing there waiting on cars to pull up, and honestly, if we're ever in the street, we're going too slow. Like you guys just have to know that that's too slow. And we got to figure out how to do it. So.
I love this the 60-car challenge too. I love that the team's excited about it, but I love that it makes the team think about the math of winning. So that's really awesome. Also, is that it's making the team think about what 4 cars a minute actually looks like.
Yeah.
And that no car, if you're going to do 60 cars, no car can spend more than 15 seconds stopped at the window.
Yeah.
And so your average of all 60 cars that you're trying to do that 15 minutes has to be 15 seconds or less. Not that that takes away from the fact that you have a guest in front of you that you need to host and smile at, but it allows us to think about, and the team to think about wow, that's what we're trying to do, that's how quick and effective we need to be, and we don't have time to get it wrong, right? We can't be inaccurate, we can't hand out the wrong food, because if we want to meet this goal that we've all set, that we want to break, you know, we have to get it right. And so that could be part of your huddle too, is hey, if you guys want to break this record and want to get this goal, we have to get it right. And we have to do it quick, and we have to be friendly, and you know, it's kind of a cool conversation that the 60 car 15 minutes has started.
So I guess, you know, like if you're a facilitator and maybe you feel it's kind of tight, but you know you need to get a third expo, maybe say you have 3 out there in front and they're at the road, so pulling one around is really helpful. What's some things you could do to get another meal delivery out there?
Just one from front line.
Okay, front line, or what if you had 2 registers and they both had lines on them? If you watch Gary, when he does front, he does ESRC with that gopher at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and his gopher acts differently than they do for the rest of us. Like, Gary lets them know what's up. And so they're usually more ahead, and so when Gary tells them to go on front or go expo, they're free to do it. Or sometimes when we just let the gophers come in here and do what they want, yeah, they are behind, and they can't, it's hard for them to go and do anything else. But I have seen that when the facilitator will jump in to a position to try to help, and it kind of sinks it even more, you know, because then you don't know what's going on, you're in one little area, but try your best to always use the gopher. Know who's on break. If the store's struggling, no one should be on break. So if it's back house or front house, you pull them up. If we pull them up and swipe them in, they get paid for their time that they're back there anyways. We'll just do a restart later, just in control. But utilize the gopher, utilize people on break. And I mean, if frontline's dead, you definitely could use someone for frontline. That was a good one.
Yeah, and I think we've probably all heard Rob, I'm assuming that we have talk about red rules and blue rules, and how red rules are the rules that can't ever be broken, and blue rules are the ones that can be bent to serve the guest, right? Because our number one goal is guest first. And so you have a gopher and he's written on a position in your setup, and that is not a red rule, it's a blue rule. And if the gopher needs to be expo for a few minutes, that's okay. And a lot of the time when that light changes, you'll get a 5 or 10 minute influx of cars that goes away. And so if you move that person out there for 5 or 10 minutes because you're paying attention and you caught a yellow screen before it turned red, you know, you're able to quickly serve 5 or 10 minutes worth of guests. You're not going to be behind on goping, and you've gotten in more productivity, more sales, better guest experience. Like, you know, you're coming in, you're running the shift. There's some red rules as far as food safety and things that we do in the restaurant, but you know, where people are written on the setup is not a red rule, it's a blue rule. It can be bent, it can be moved. You know, productivity is people in sales. Move your people where your sales are, and that's y'all's call. You know, you make sure that you're making the right call for the guest because you're the one running the shift.
The reason that we're talking about this is because the only way for us to grow sales is through the drop-through.
Yeah.
Like, we have to move the drop-through faster. We have to figure out how to go faster. And if we're like this, we may think, well, we're as busy as we can be doing as much as we can. But we've got to figure out a way to move faster. It's the only way we're going to grow sales. Because if you can't get in the restaurant, you can't spend your money.
Same way, if you do want to dine in and you get one parking spot, spend your money. I mean, I think all of us probably, I know Daniel has, and I have too, had guests tell us that they really love eating here, but they pulled around twice and they left. So, you know, that's why the Buffalo Brothers is super convenient now. A lot more convenient than Pestmark, but we've got to park over there. And not just yourself, but do a walkthrough with a lot and make sure everyone's over there. If the drive-thru's moving and the cars are gone, we're going to be a lot better shape for our goal. So, I know we all want that.
I hope like these last couple of days, like today and yesterday night and Saturday night, like we've had some really good nights in drive-thru and just in the store. But I think that what it really reflects is that even without any major changes, like we're moving outside, curbside, it's like our team is capable. And so we sometimes pacify them and make them, we pretend like they can't do it, when in all actuality they can do it. And then it just comes back on the leader, right? It's our job is to make them great and help them succeed. Does that make sense? Like, we got to learn to maximize our team, help them to do their job to their fullest ability, But to think like they can't do it, or it's too hard on kitchen, or well, we're not setting ourselves up for success. We're not helping our team become better, right? So I think what these last couple days have proved is really that mentality doesn't work, and our team actually is very capable and very motivated.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting too if we tell them that they're capable of doing it, suddenly they think that they're capable of doing it, right? So Gary tells his gopher that he's capable of keeping the store stocked, helping Expo and run a register when needed. And suddenly, instead of just struggling to keep the store stocked, because Gary told him that he could do it, you know, he's able to keep the store stocked and run a register and help wherever needed. Because that was what his manager told him that he could and was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And so then, you know, are we having that attitude with every area of the restaurant?
Like my first day here, Gary was my frontline bagger and I was his server. And I always wanted to work hard. It's just something I've tried to do my whole life. But to me, working hard was getting the tray to the table. When I clocked in, Gary was like, "You're gonna put my orange juices, my chocolate milk, and my sauces, and blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" But I knew what he expected, and so I did it. And we had a really good lunch that day. I mean, he did it. He was beating people at the restaurant and everything. But if he didn't say it to me, I would have thought I was doing a good job by running the tray to the table, right? And in his mind, he would have been frustrated. I think it happens here sometimes. We're frustrated, but we never really told him what we expect. You know, same thing with the gopher. When we let them come here and do what they want, we run out of stuff and it's just kind of chaotic. But yeah, and like you said, last few days, like last 2 weeks, I want to say it's 5 times that nighttime drive-through beating daytime drive-through. And these are 16, 17-year-old kids. I mean, I've been really proud of them. So I think we can do pretty much anything we want to do. So.